Hey, this is Ryan with One Board Family, and today I'm going to teach you how to play the card game Velonimo from 25th Century Games, designed by Bruno Cathala. In this card game about crazy animals racing to the top of a mountain summit on their bicycles, players are going to play hands of cards in order to become the leader of the pack in each of the 5 rounds of the game. So let's jump to the table and see how this one plays. Inside the box for Velonimo, you're going to find a rule book, which is a quick read. It tells you the rules for 3 to 5 players, and toward the end, will tell you how to play a 2-player game. We're going to go over the rules for a 3 to 5 player game today, and you can check out the rule book for a 2-player game on your own. Also, you'll find a nifty score pad. This will help you keep track as you score each of the 5 rounds of the game. You can even create your own scoring system if you so wish, down at the bottom, where you can fill in the number of points that you win for each of the players who are left in the round. We'll go over that a little later. You'll also find all these fantastically illustrated cards in the game, and now let's check out what some of these cards do. Players are dealt a total of 11 cards to use as they race toward the top of the summit for each and every one of the rounds. Now let's take a look at what some of these cards do and what they look like. Let's check out the anatomy of a card. On this example card you see here, you see the number 2, you see the color red, and the camel who is in the center of the card. This is the racer, the racer's number, and the color that it comes in. Now the camel cards will always be number 2, and the camel card comes in one of each and every color. So during gameplay, players can play either based on the type of animal, the camel, or maybe a tiger, or they can play based on the color of the card. Now remember, all animals contain the same number, so tigers, in this case, will always be number 5. Anytime you play a tiger card, they will be the number 5. Let's check out how a player attacks and counterattacks during the course of the game. On the very first turn of the game, the youngest player at the table goes first, and the player chose to play a single card, number 5. The player could have also chose to play a combination of cards based on the color of the background of the animal, or based on the animal themselves, which come in the same number. So in this situation, we've got the cheetah, which is always number 7. We've got 3 cheetah cards. And in this situation, we've got 2 different animals, but they're both on the red background. So the player could either play a single card or a combination of cards based on color or based on animal number. No matter what the first player chose to play, the next player in turn order must beat the value on the top of the card that they see in the middle of the table. In this case, player number 1 has played the 5 card, and player number 2 has chosen to beat that card with a 6. Now, as a single card, you're only taking the value at the top of the card, but when you play a combination, the rules change a bit. In this situation right here, where a combination of cards is played, what you're going to do is you're going to add the 2 cards together times 10. So in this situation, you've played 2 red cards. Those 2 red cards are 10, 20, and then you add the lowest value card to the total. So 10, 20, and 2, because 2 is the lowest value number in that card combination that was played. In a situation where 3 of the same number cards are played, you're going to add the 3 cards just like we did before, 10, 20, 30, and then you're going to add the value of the lowest card. Because they are all 7s, the number 7 will be added. 10, 20, 30, 7 is the total. So a 37 would easily beat a 22. The number 1 card is always the tortoise card, and it's called the leader card. In this icon right here, you're going to see that allows the player who played the card to pull a random card from another player's hand. So when the player plays a single tortoise card. That player's value is 1, and they get to randomly draw 1 card from somebody else's hand. In a situation where 2 cards are played, like this right here, the 1 and the 2, the total is going to work just like it did before, with 10, 20, and the lowest card being added to it, 21, and the player can activate the leader's ability. In this situation, they would also be allowed to pull 1 card from the player's hand of their choice. When using the leader card ability, you target a single opponent at the table. In this case, I would steal 1 card from my opponent, which turned out to be a number 7 cheetah on a gray background. Now, I place that into my hand. That is now part of my hand moving forward, and I take 1 card from my hand to give back to the player. I can choose to give the same card that I just stole back to the player, or I can choose to give a completely different card to the player. In this situation, I would give a number 2 camel on a green background to my opponent because I no longer need that card. Let's say a player is trying to get rid of a lot of low cards from their hand. In this situation, they've played 3 number 1 cards. They're going to first tally the number of cards that are played, just like we did before, 10, 20, 30, with the lowest card being added, 1. So the value here is 31. But the player also gets the optional action to pull a set of 3 cards from a single player at the table. That's usually important because you can break up somebody's combinations or break up a series that a player was going to play in a future round and possibly get something that you really needed in a future round for yourself. There's one animal that doesn't work well with others, and that is the hare. As you can see, this speedy hare here has a black background and a higher number than any of the other cards in the deck. The hare will always have the top number cards. They're always double-digit cards such as a 40, a 35, a 25, going all the way up to 50. The deal with the hare is that the hare doesn't work with anybody else. So in a situation like this, only a single hare card could be played on top of a set of cards. So if a player played a 21, which is 10, 20, 21, a player can play a 25 on top, beating the previous cards. During the round, as players play cards, a player can choose to pass and not play during the course of the round, but they're not penalized because they can come back into the round at a later time. Just because you pass doesn't mean you're out of the round, unlike most trick-taking games. As players beat card sets with card combinations or even hare cards, the round ends when everybody is passed and a new leader is chosen because they were the last ones to play. So in this case, the player who played the 40 and everyone else passed, the player who played that 40 is the new leader for the new round, and they are going to start off the new round with a single card or a combination of cards of their choice. Once one player is completely out of cards and no cards in their hand, that player then scores their points using this score sheet that comes in the box. Players score their points once their hand is empty, and their score is based on the summit that they were climbing at the time and also based on the number of players who were left in the round. So in this example, you see player number 2 exited first. They're going to receive 1 victory point because they're on summit number 1, times 2 because there were 2 players left in the round. In the case of the rest of the players, player 3 went out second, scoring a single point because there's 1 player left in the round, times 1 because of summit number 1, and player number 1 received last place, getting 0 points because there were no players left in that round. At the end of every round, the coveted peas and carrots jersey is awarded to the player who is currently leading in the game. You look at the score, and whoever has the highest score, that player will be awarded the jersey. Now, even though this card has the same back as all the rest of the cards in the game, this card actually sits in front of the player who's leading so that everybody can see. It also keeps this card from being stolen when a leader card is played and a random draw of cards is pulled from somebody's hand. The peas and carrots jersey can be played just like other cards, but adds a value of 10 to any card or card combination that's played. In this situation, I've played a 5 card, but I've also played the peas and carrots jersey card. Unlike most of the other card combinations that you'll find in the game, this one is added differently. It adds a plus 10 to the value of what is played. So in this situation, I've played a 5 and I add 10 to it for a total of 15 points. In a situation like this, I've played 10, 20, 21, and the peas and carrots jersey for a total of 31 points for my turn. Once scores are totaled at the end of round 5, players look at the number of points scored in each of the summits and get a final total for the game. The player who has the highest score at the end of Velonimo is the winner and is awarded the final peas and carrots jersey of the day. And there you have it. Now you know how to play the card game Velonimo from 25th Century Games. Be sure to pick up a copy at 25thcenturygames.com or visit your local game store and order it by name. And if you want to find out more about family gaming and how you can game more with your family and friends, be sure to head over to oneboardfamily.com and follow us all over social media at OneBoardFamily. Thanks, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.